Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Wow. Okay. So yesterday was launch day for Let the Girls Game, and it went so well. The reception has been amazing. I'm so excited for us to venture into this space a little bit deeper. I'm excited for you guys to hear the next 4 weeks of episodes. It's going to be such a good time. If you guys like Mini Scroll or you like my podcast, please consider subscribing on YouTube. Even if you don't watch on YouTube, I'm trying to help the YouTube grow. It's quite difficult, even though I'm putting out so much content. It ebbs and flows for sure. It just kind of depends on the content, but I really want to get my views up and my subscribers up. So please consider subscribing. There's always a link down below. Anyways, let's get into the stories for today. So the first story, oh my God, we have all been waiting for this. Trisha Paytas has given birth to her second daughter, Elvis Paytas-Hacmon. So Trisha Paytas has announced the birth of her second child with husband Moses Hacmon. Trisha and Moses welcomed daughter Elvis Paytas-Hacmon on May 24th via C-section. This comes after Trisha was liking comments over the last couple of weeks that said Elvis must be here, she's posting drafts, or she hasn't been online in a while, and she was liking those comments. So we knew that Elvis was here, but it was just really cute to see her announcement. I mean, I could rattle on forever about how being a mother seems to have changed Trisha so much, and you guys know how I feel about Trisha Paytas. I'm an apologist, but I love to see her happy. I love to see her in her mom era. Her podcast is taking off. She's just really figured it out. Her mid-30s have just been her moment. And I think that's a nice example for all of us. You know, there's a lot of pressure on our 20s to be a really transformative decade, and then your 30s are supposed to be kind of when you get married, start having kids, but it's more of you're settled a little bit, I think, and you have your career figured out, and it's when your life is really supposed to take off, but you've kind of built it in your 20s. And I think for most people, by far, that's just not the case. Your 20s really are for experimenting, trying different things, having fun. You don't need to have it all figured out. And I mean, Trisha's a pretty extreme example of this, but she is a very high profile good example of the fact that you can have a really tumultuous start to your adult life, and you can find your happiness and your peace. And it might be a little bit quote unquote later, but it can happen. I love that for her. All right, the next story that I have for you guys, it's a bit of an interesting one. I don't know. The few times I have talked about Gypsy Rose Blanchard on this podcast, people have a lot of opinions, and I actually just did not realize how contentious she is as a person and the topic and everything around her. But I wanted to talk about this because it's related to YouTuber news as well. So Gypsy Rose Blanchard attempted to sue a true crime YouTube channel. Gypsy, along with her father and stepmother, attempted to sue true crime creator Fancy Mazzelli in a case that was dismissed just this morning. So Gypsy and her family met Fancy while Gypsy was in prison. They claimed that Fancy offered to produce several projects on Gypsy and her case via Fancy's production company, Mad Ginger Entertainment. They entered into this partnership, and they alleged that to help Fancy produce this content, they gave her tons of information on the case and on Gypsy that was confidential, like medical records and photos, videos, that kind of stuff. Quote, for the next 2 years, plaintiffs Gypsy, Rod, and Christy diligently worked with defendant Mazzelli. They had countless conversations and interviews with her regarding their lives and their circumstances of the murder, the lawsuit reads. During this time, Mazzelli purported to be skilled and experienced enough to perform her side of the contract. So their partnership went sour by 2019 when Fancy failed to secure any meaningful partnerships or produce any meaningful content, so they cut ties with her. However, despite the deal going awry, they claim that Fancy still continued to talk about Gypsy and her case in interviews, on podcasts, and on her channels for content. Some of the information that she shared in, these interviews and podcasts and all of that was that confidential information that she received from the family, allegedly. And she also apparently had a monetized Patreon where she was basically getting people to pay her for information on Gypsy that she had, again, allegedly obtained from the family under different pretenses. So they filed a lawsuit alleging fraud, breach of contract, unjust enrichment, defamation, and false light. The lawsuit also claimed that Fancy's content was disparaging towards the family. Quote, "I'm obsessed with the fact a murderer and her lying con artist stepmother are conning the world one paycheck at a time," Fancy allegedly wrote of Gypsy and her mother in a Facebook post. Quote, "She has stated that she is in fear that someone will take her out," the lawsuit reads. "She presents no evidence to back up the assertions that she is either being stalked or that the plaintiffs are encouraging such behavior." So this kind of blew up yesterday. Everybody was like freaking out about this that came out. And then this morning, Fancy made a TikTok because the hearing for this was this morning, or I guess Wednesday morning in the US. And it was apparently dismissed, the lawsuit. So that's the latest on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I don't want to share any opinions on this because last time I shared opinions on Gypsy and I was like trying to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt and just say like, you know, she's obviously traumatized. Like a lot happened to her. People freaking came for me. So I'm not going to continue stating my opinion, but I will share the tea on what is going on. All right. And the last story that I have for you guys is that JoJo Siwa was photographed kissing a new woman. I just can't. This podcast is now a JoJo Siwa updates account. Like, I can't get enough. I'm obsessed with JoJo Siwa. I can't stop talking about her. I feel like Katie Heron in Mean Girls, where she's talking about Regina George and how she's like waiting for people to bring her up so she can talk about her more. That's how I feel about JoJo Siwa. All right, so photos have started circulating of JoJo Siwa kissing So You Think You Can Dance contestant Madison Rouge Alvarado. The photos are reportedly from last week where the couple were kissing at LAX. I don't know who was coming or leaving, but they were apparently at LAX. So Madison competed on the most recent season of So You Think You Can Dance, placing third. And JoJo is actually a judge on this show. So that is presumably how they met. It is unclear if they are together. This is obviously just the first we've seen of this. But as we know from JoJo's dating history over the years, if they are together, we are sure to get many more staged paparazzi photos of them doing lots of activities like sitting front row at basketball games, going to Disneyland. So stay tuned for the content, basically. Okay, and then I also really wanted to talk about that new Netflix documentary, the Dancing with the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. But I haven't watched it yet, and I was on my dad's Netflix, like on my parents' Netflix for the last like however many years, 10 plus years. And you know how Netflix is like, you can't use like communal passwords anymore, family passwords. And I thought I was like flying under the radar this whole time because like nothing ever happened. And then literally last weekend, I got a notification being like, this password is not yours and you need to sign up. So I was like, damn it. So I don't have Netflix right now, but I'm going to get it because I want to watch this so badly, and I will talk about it next week because it's everywhere. It's obviously about TikTok, internet culture, so I think I need to get on it, but that's why I haven't talked about it this week. I just haven't seen it yet. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to Mini Scroll. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you can be bothered, watch or like listen to our episodes on YouTube. I need to get the views up. I need the YouTube to like start thriving a little bit. It is like depressing. Okay. Anyways, thank you for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week, but obviously there will be a deep dive tomorrow. Okay, bye.